You've just opened the soup can. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the many flavors we offer as we ask Soup No. Hello and welcome to the Soup Can, where we ask Soup No O with everything. I'm your host, Campbell's, and with me today is a longtime friend, uh, Tyler Makins. Thank you for joining me in the Soup Can today via Zoom.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure, Campbell's. It's been a long time, so it's good to catch up with you again. Good to be here on the podcast today.
Thanks. I'm glad we could get this set up and have you on. Um,
Absolutely.
like you said, I've known Tyler. It's going on almost 10 years now, I think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, at least 10 years now. Yeah,
Man, I
getting to
met
be
you
old,
when we
man.
were just a little guy in the same youth group that we were both in. Um, you were, out of Livingston County chapter, I think.
Yep. Out of Livingston County. Grew up in good old Fowlerville, Michigan, out there
Yep.
on the other side of Howell.
Yep, I've been there
Yeah.
many times. Just drove through there not too long ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. It must have been a lot of cornfields and cows and barns and everything.
Yeah, but now you're living down in Georgia, right?
Yes, sir. Yep, I live just outside of Atlanta, a little north of the city.
Okay, cool. And what brought you down there?
Work brought me down here actually. After I graduated from college, I went to Northwood University up in Midland and graduated, spent about a year or so kind of just looking for work, trying to find a good fit and everything like that. Coached some high school basketball and was applying to jobs and all that kind of stuff. And finally came through, sent an application out at Turner Sports out in Atlanta. It's kind of, I don't know if you've heard like TNT, the television channels, or NBA TV. They kind of do all that sort of broadcasting and everything. So I applied for an internship in their business operations department on the NCAA digital team, and went through a couple rounds of interviews and ended up getting in there. So I started a year internship down here in Atlanta and really enjoyed working in the business operations side of things. It was cool to kind of work on the March Madness app. That's kind of our big project for the year. So it's really like a lot of work and building out like the entire year to this big project, coming around in March when the NCAA tournament happens. But then, I mean, when you're tracking all your data and everything during the tournament, and you see, oh, we have a million people using our app at one time, that's pretty cool. So that was fun, but I ended up when I got down there, if people know me, like I'm a huge movies, TV guy. Like I have like very few specific interests, and it's like movies and TV, basketball, and pro wrestling. It's like that's it. So down here in Atlanta, we have TV and we have basketball, and well, now we have wrestling too, actually, which is
No,
pretty
I'm
neat.
not.
Yeah. But we'll
We'll
get to
get to
that. We'll get to
wrestling.
that.
We'll get to wrestling.
But yeah. But anyway, so got in with some TV folks down here, and I met a lot of them during my internship. Was able to do some freelance work, and then once my internship contract expired, I got on with NBA TV and TNT on the television side, kind of graphics production and just assisting with like different parts of television production, like cutting video, different stuff like that. Like I said, graphics and design, that's kind of the
Okay.
big thing.
And you make
Um,
time with all that to come onto my little podcast. Oh,
oh no, shoot. This is the first podcast I've done, so it's an honor, like I said.
that's awesome. That's a lot. And so I'm looking forward to hopefully coming down and maybe tour the some Turner Network stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I've been down here for about 3 years now, so I got like a decent lay of the land, I'd say. I can definitely go around and hit
I
some
mean,
some different spots.
I've only been down to Georgia, no pun intended with the song. Um,
So you were the devil. Came down here. I've heard of you.
well played, sir. I've only been down there once. And, I didn't really get to do much and experience much in the Atlanta area, which is where I'm
Okay,
staying. But I'd love to get down there. We're gonna try to come down there this summer. If
definitely.
we'll
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta's great, and I love the city. But even once you hit like the little neighborhoods, like north of the city and stuff like that, it's like that in every big city.
right.
The little stuff that you find around. That's where the good stuff is.
So was it tough decision to move away, or you knew you had to get out to pursue what you wanted to get into?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It wasn't really a tough decision to move away because I think at the time I was 22. Yeah, 22, about to turn 23. And, I was out of work for a year, like I had mentioned. So at that point, I was like jumping at the bit, like let's go. Like I'm ready to do something. Like I want to go get out there, like contribute. Like I loved coaching basketball and stuff like that, but it's obviously only season by season. And once once the high school and AAU season was over, I was like, okay, well, this is a lot of like sitting at home and just sending resumes out. So it wasn't hard once I finally got an offer, because this was the first offer that I got.
Okay.
So it wasn't hard once I actually got it to move. But once I got down here, I guess I probably didn't realize how different it was going to be, literally being basically 100% by yourself, away from your family. I was single down here, and it was just me and my dog, in the
That
apartment
would
most of
have
the time.
been a tough transition, but you're not single now.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been dating my girlfriend Mary for about a year and a half now.
Congratulations on that. I
So
know she was one of the lucky ones that got to go with you to WrestleMania.
yep. We just got back from vacation. We did I think 4 or 5 days in Savannah, Georgia, which is down south Georgia, and then drove. It's about 4 hours to Tampa from there.
Okay.
And we hit night one of WrestleMania. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Um, how is switch gears here? How is Georgia handling the whole COVID thing? You guys open up down there, or
Oh yeah. We've been open from basically the very beginning. We kind of because my work, and she's a teacher, we kind of can do a lot of our stuff from home, and that's what it shifted to at the beginning of the pandemic. So we kind of really sequestered for like a couple months.
oh yeah, I
um
remember you telling me that you were
yeah
in Lake
yeah
House for a few months or something.
yeah. So her parents have a lake house just outside, or just inside of Alabama, I should say. So we were down there for, I think, the first like two months or so of the pandemic. And really, like, I mean, it's the house is out in the middle of nowhere, so we didn't see anybody. We didn't know anything that was going on, or anything. And then we went up to Michigan for a couple of weeks after that, around Memorial Day, and came back down here. And that's when the first time we were basically like in Atlanta, probably like around June. And it was popping off. Everything was like back to normal. Like
Yeah,
like movie theaters weren't really open, but that's like the only thing that I could really think of. Like they had dine-in restaurants, if the places wanted to. Some places still only offered carry out, but if they wanted to be open, they could. So
yeah. Here,
it
it's still pretty locked down. I don't want to say locked down.
yeah
That's the right word, because things are opened up here in Michigan. Probably a lot more so than when you came up to visit. But a lot of places are at 25% capacity.
yeah
But there's, high school sports are back. But I don't know if like LCA is having fans in attendance or anything like that just yet.
I haven't seen just yet. I don't think so. But I mean, next season it's going to be a free for all, from what I'm understanding. They're going to try and get fans in every arena, every building. We're already seeing it with baseball now.
Yeah, baseball. The Texas Rangers sold out. They had like
Yeah.
30,000 people.
And that's to see shitty baseball. That's below a 500 team right there. The Rangers. They're not even making the playoffs, so they're getting 40,000 people in there.
Yeah,
Not risking my life for Texas Rangers baseball. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I have friends that live in Arizona. It's like he always says it's like the Wild West out there.
Yeah.
Things are just open and.
Yeah, man, it's just different, kind of going from, like, not to bring politics or anything into it, but I mean, you have a more liberal or democratic governor up in Michigan, and down south, and like in Georgia or in Texas especially, I mean, it's totally different, just different mindset.
How you handle it. But I know up here we got that other variant of COVID that's coming through and all that fun stuff. But that covers all the formal stuff. But
Yeah.
like you went to WrestleMania. First,
We went to WrestleMania, man. The greatest stage of them
the
all,
greatest
man.
thing of them all. But
I was very excited. This was a childhood dream come true.
it's still a childhood dream of mine. It's on my bucket list. But was that your first event that you attended since COVID?
Yes, it definitely was. Had not done anything like that since COVID. I mean, shoot, even probably a long time prior to COVID.
Right.
But yeah, no, that was the first big event that I had been to. I worked the All-Star game for work down here, but I mean that was totally closed off. Closed set. Like I didn't even go in the arena. I walked to the TV truck and back to the hotel, and to the TV truck and back to like, and this was in Atlanta too. So I was basically 25 minutes from home and we're just stuck in the hotel. But so yeah, this was the first big thing, first big opportunity that we've had to go do something.
That's awesome. Now, you were there with, they had 20 or 25,000 each night.
Yeah, I believe so because it was like I think a third capacity or something like
Okay.
that, if I remember
So
right.
capacity, so that place holds almost 70,000 people then.
Yes,
60 to
correct.
70,000. Now,
Yep.
you were on the floor because I
Yeah.
asked all these questions because I was jealous. And you sent some pictures and stuff, which were really cool. How was the floor all set up?
The floor was basically, and this is my first pay-per-view event that I've been to. I've been
Okay.
to a couple different. I think I've been to a Raw and a SmackDown since I've moved to Atlanta, and then I went to a SmackDown. I think when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Parents got us tickets for a birthday, so this was the first big thing, first big WWE or wrestling thing that I've been to. So I don't know how like socially distanced or different this was compared to other ones, but it was definitely really spaced out. And I mean, they just had kind of like lawn chairs like set up, and kind of like how they do basically at concerts.
Yeah.
Um, but they only had you had to buy tickets in groups or just a single ticket, and you all had to like sit together and that kind of stuff. So I just got the group of two down there, and yeah, we were probably the opposite side of the ramp coming down, so we could kind of see the ramp, but we were on the other side of it,
Okay.
and probably I don't know, like 30 to 40 rows back, I would say. But I mean, you could still see
I
everything
mean,
like
your pictures
crystal clear.
when Bianca Belair won, the pictures you sent me, you were right there.
Yeah, so that I kind of cheated a little bit because that was the main event, obviously,
Right.
and it was like pretty dark at that point, and some people had already left at that point, which shame on them because I don't know what they
Right.
were
The
thinking,
rain delay.
especially if you pay for floor seats. Yeah, you pay for floor seats, and then you got the rain delay, like which we can talk about that as well. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Um, but yeah, so for the main event, the Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks match, I saw that some folks had left kind of the opposite of the hard camera side. So basically, what you're looking at is what the camera is seeing. So
Yeah.
we were kind of right in front of it. I was like, oh shit, the people are right over there, and there was no ushers or anything around. Like they didn't care. And so we just shot over there real quick, and yeah, we were probably I don't know, maybe 15, 20 rows back from the ring, and you could see basically, like I said, everything that you would see looking at the camera from
Excuse me.
home. And then when the match ended, I saw like it was kind of like a malaise and people were leaving and whatnot. So I just like shot forward up to the very front. And all of a sudden I was right at ringside and Bianca Belair was right in front of me, like hugging her family and stuff. And I'm like taking selfies on my phone, like, oh, what's up, champ? Like going crazy, and she's like here crying, having her moment. And after I thought about it, I was like, I probably shouldn't be here right now, but this is so sick.
I'm not with your family, but I am now.
Yeah, we're all let's bring it in, eh?
I mean, yeah, shame, like you said, shame on those people for leaving. I mean, that's one of the first that is the first event with fans of in this
Right,
in that sport. Did they do?
right.
I missed the beginning part of night one. Um, did they do any welcome back fans or anything like that? Did like
Yeah,
come out and welcome everybody?
yeah. So I can kind of run you through how the show went from the being there perspective because this all kind of goes into the beginning. So we get there, we're waiting in line, whatever. We had seen the weather forecast coming in. We know it's probably going to be pretty bad storms at some point, but we're hoping maybe it will be bad, maybe it'll just blow over. But we're waiting in line to get in, and we see the clouds are starting to turn like just a little bit, but the weather's still great. We finally get in, we get into the seats. We're taking all of our pictures, and then all of a sudden, like it really starts to get cloudy. And then probably maybe like 30 minutes or so after we had gotten into the gate, they do the first inclement weather warning, and they say everybody needs to get out of like the open floor of the arena and get into the concourse, or like we were on the floor, so we went underneath, kind of like in the tunnels in the lower bowl. And so we're down there for, this was because doors opened at 4:30. We got in probably like 4:45, so might be 5:30 at this point. And we were underneath from 5:30 until probably 8 o'clock, I'd say. Only thing that was down there was the bar. So we were just, we got loaded up. We Ubered there, you know, safety first, obviously, of course. We Ubered there. And so we were like, well, I guess we might as well get some drinks. And so had a couple drinks. Finally, it gets to, like I said, about 7:30 or so, getting towards 8 o'clock. And 8 o'clock is when the show's supposed to start.
Right.
So they finally announced, like, around 7:30, 7:45, you guys can go back to your seats. We get out there. All the wrestlers come out to the ramp after a couple minutes, and they're all waving, doing whatever, and everybody's getting amped up, like, oh yeah, like, okay, let's go. We see everybody. Vince McMahon gives his big, like, welcome back address, like, oh, something's missing, and it was you, and now we're so happy to have you back at WrestleMania, you know, whatever. So he does his whole spiel. They do the WrestleMania intro package video. And then we're like, okay, yeah, like, let's go. We know the first match is Lashley Drew. We're like, let's go. And then all of a sudden, all the lights come on, and they're like, oh, there is inclement weather over the arena. Please evacuate immediately. We're like, oh my god.
Okay, now let me interject real quick while you're talking about this. Now, we've all been to events that they've had rain delays, right?
Yep.
And you know, they have filler stuff.
Yes.
I've never been to a wrestling event where they've had any kind of delay. So
right. Because the show goes on in wrestling.
Exactly. Because from the perspective of watching it on the TV, all they showed were video packages and arguments with the wrestlers backstage. It was
right.
It was bad.
That's what I was texting you and texting another friend of mine that were watching. I'm like, what's going on? Because like they just told us, like, oh, like, gotta leave. And I'm like, you guys know more of what's going on than what we do, because we're underneath the arena at that point. I'm like, damn, I need to pull out my phone and just turn on the network or something.
So they just pull, for the second time, they just put you under the arena, and there's no.
Yeah, it was same spot that we were at before.
Okay.
But there's just way more people, because like the show was like about to start. It was like they played the video package. They're like, okay, we're ready to roll, and then we had.
Now, were you socially distanced when you were shoved under the arena?
No, there was like probably thousands of, like, I wouldn't say thousands, but maybe 1,000, like under there, like just in our little section. Because I mean,
what are you gonna do? They're putting your safety first by delaying the event so you can get out of the inclement weather.
Right, and you know, most people did like a good job, because they required masks at the event, so most people did a good job of like staying masked up for the most part. Like, well, they were down there, but I mean, it's like, I would say 75% of the people would like stay masked up, which, you know, it's the best you can hope for, I guess. Like, whatever. I had my mask on, like, I was cool.
So now, from watching it at home, like I said, I missed the beginning. I hate doing air quotes, but I didn't really miss the beginning because of the inclement weather.
Right.
And I got to my buddy's house about 8:30, and the first match hadn't even started yet.
Right.
So I can only imagine just waiting in a tunnel or under the arena with 1,000 people to go back to your seats. At least we had video packages and.
Right. But it's like you said, it was kind of funny watching them scramble just to like put something together, because they had Braun Strowman go out there and basically say he was going to murder Shane McMahon on live television. And I'm like, okay, this is getting a little far, just because he called you stupid a couple times.
I mean, because like there was a WrestleMania where it did rain outside, but the ring was covered. The ramp was a little wet. This isn't this past WrestleMania. This is a different WrestleMania. So even if it did rain, the wrestlers were okay in the rain.
Right.
But the fans, screw the fans, let them get wet. So the show kicks off about 8:30, 8:35. You know, half hour late. The first match is already getting started. Would you say like all 25,000 people stayed after both weather delays?
Oh yeah, I think after both weather delays, for the most part, because I think at that point folks were like, total we've waited like almost probably 3 hours just like underneath the tunnel or in the stands or on the concourse or whatever. So it's like we just want to like get rolling at this point, and like it was raining still at that first segment with Titus O'Neil and Hulk Hogan when they came out. It was still raining like pretty bad. Like those guys definitely got wet. And then it would probably kept raining through like the entrances, but towards the end of Lashley's entrance, I think he came out second. By the time that was over, the rain was done, and it didn't rain the rest of the night. So we were #blessed from that point
It's
on.
interesting to see because I know like entertainment venues, especially sporting events, and wrestling is a sport. They want to get fans back. Fans are like the backbone of what makes
right.
I mean, the athletes are still going to perform to the best of their ability to give a show for the people at home, but it's nice to see that they're getting back to it. And I don't know. I know the next night on Raw, we'll jump back to the rest of the event. I know the next night on Raw and tomorrow on SmackDown, they're back at the Thunderdome.
Right.
No fans. So
right.
But
definitely, and I watched the Raw or bits of the Raw on Monday because I just watched the Hulu edition. If you watch 3 hours of Raw, you're just a better fan than I am. Like I got to tip my hat to you because I cannot watch 3 hours of Raw.
I made it to about an hour of Raw and turned it off.
Yeah. So it just like you said, like I think once having like the thrill of like being back in there and like seeing the live crowd, even on night 2 when I was just watching from home, I was still like really amped up and excited, like you said. But then going back to like the Thunderdome and not having like that same energy, it just didn't hit the same, So I'm hoping that, and they have a shit ton of money invested in this Thunderdome, I'm sure, but but I'm hoping that at some point they'll be able to do something similar to like an AEW style, I guess, where if they're going to stay in a consistent location, maybe they can do just like a certain number of outdoor fans, especially like if like with the summer months coming up, it'd be nicer outside. So
well, I mean maybe
they can do something.
They did try the AEW approach, and they completely ripped it from AEW, where they tried to put the wrestlers around the
yes, I remember that. Yeah.
But even that was so scripted to me that it's like they're cheering, but you could tell they were told what.
Right. It wasn't authentic. Yeah.
So let's jump back to WrestleMania. You're there night 1. How were the fans? Because it's hard to gauge because on TV they can turn the volume of the audience mic up and down.
Right.
So how was it? Was it a marked crowd? Did they just cheer for everything, or did?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was just kind of different, and like this is the first, like I said, this is the first pay-per-view that I've been to, so I'm not sure how this one compared to others. The crowd was not as hyped as I thought it was going to be. Okay. Like I was expecting like it to be like booming in there, booming, but then again, it was half empty, so or 2/3 empty, whatever the number was. So it wasn't necessarily the full presentation and like full acoustic sound and like boom and cheer of everything that you're gonna normally get. But I mean, for the big matches, like for that first match, and then for the main event, obviously, and then even for just like the big spots, the crowd would get up. But I think I was a little surprised by like how like not dead, but more just like more buzzing silently or whatever the crowd was, just more like during the matches and stuff. Because I mean, like I said, I had a couple drinks, but I was hyped. But I'm always hyped at those events because I'm the type of person where like I'm there. I paid the money, like I want to get my money's worth. I want to like have a really good time. I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna cheer. I'm gonna boo. I'm gonna do all the chants. Like
I mean, last wrestling event I went to was with my brother, and he got suite tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So from his company. So we're they're SmackDown. We're eating. We're not really paying attention because we're in a suite. We're eating and drinking.
Right.
All the food was free. But I would love to go to a wrestling pay-per-view with you. So maybe we'll work our trip down there around some AEW stuff.
Yeah, that would be great, man. And I think you could probably work your way in because you look just like Chris Jericho now. So I mean, you just let the hair down. And,
box down. I don't have that receding part in the top.
No. And I'm sure your gut's probably not as big either. So
No, it's definitely not.
but yeah, man, WrestleMania was a great time. I mean, if you want to run through some of the matches, I don't know what your favorite one was, but I think the two championship matches were definitely my favorite ones. But outside of that, the Bad Bunny match, man. Bad Bunny delivered. I know you and I had to bring this up because you were crapping all over Bad Bunny before this. But the Bunny, man, the Bunny delivered.
All right, listen, Bugs Bunny here. he fine. He wants to be in WWE. Fine, you can perform, but stick with what you're good at, rapping.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I would see him back.
Entertaining. And
the Bunny is welcome back anytime in my book. I thought he
night one WrestleMania was by far better than night two.
Oh, absolutely. I think every match, honestly, on night one, outside of the tag match, the tag team turmoil match, which we need to talk about. That match was almost the second longest match on the card. That match was 15 minutes. That's insanity.
Women's tag, that one.
Yeah.
And
it was just piecemealed together, and I don't know. I don't understand how that match gets 15 minutes and AJ Styles only gets 10.
Well, I think with AJ Styles, they just gave him the tag titles to make him a Grand Slam champion. But that Omos guy, and then we'll get back to the turmoil match. That Omos guy, he did classic big man stuff. He looked menacing in the corner, came in, did like 3 or 4 moves, and that was it.
I said, well, okay, so that's what I want to ask you. How did that look? Because I haven't gone back. I've watched a couple of the matches back on TV, but I haven't gotten to that one yet. How did that one look on TV? Because in person, I
think we're experiencing some technical difficulties here. I lost Tyler's audio here. And we're back from our technical difficulties. To my 2 or 3 people who actually listen to this, I apologize. But
to the fans, to all the fans.
To all the fans, we apologize.
Yeah, it happens. It happens to the best of us. But I think, as I was saying, we were talking Omos, the giant Omos, correct?
You had asked me how the match looked on TV.
Yes, because it looks great in person, man. Omos, I feel like looked like $1 million with those power moves, and New Day selling like $1 million.
He hit all the power moves that a typical big man should. I think the friends I was with, we were anxious to finally see him in the ring, so we were kind of hyped. So on TV they did their job. It delivered on TV and, like you said, in person.
Right, because I mean they did a great job building it with all the kind of funny stuff, AJ just taking a beating and then running around trying to get that hot tag the whole time. But then when he finally got in there, because that guy, I don't know if you know, but he played college basketball. He wasn't very good, but he played like Division I college basketball and then transferred to like a smaller D2, I think, or maybe a smaller D1. And so he's like a legit 7'3".
Yeah, and I looked him up because I was curious to know who he was, and he was actually like a Nigerian professional wrestler too.
Okay, yeah. So he's like legit huge, and like I don't know how he looked at home, but he looked shredded in person. So like I'll give him credit.
You had the best was when AJ Styles was on his shoulders. It's like that's a 6 foot tall man on top of another man's shoulders.
Right.
And the 6 foot tall man looks small.
Right, exactly.
Looks like a little kid.
So yeah, I think a hell of a debut for them, and I think all the matches really hit except for that tag team turmoil match, and even that one I didn't think was horrible. It just ran a little too long for me.
That one,
but
we all wanted the Riot Squad to win. They deserved it.
Right.
I don't think
because they're the only tag team. They're the only like real tag team that WWE has, and they're the only tag team that hasn't held the belts.
And they just really got rid of the Iconics today, even though they were already up. We'll touch on that after we finish talking about Mania.
Okay.
We had the Bobby Lashley Drew McIntyre match, which I thought Drew McIntyre was going to win because reasons. Um,
Right.
but they swerved me by keeping the belt on Bobby Lashley. But the next night on Raw, they did a triple threat for the number one contender between Orton, uh, Strowman, and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre won. So I think Bobby
Right.
Lashley's going to lose at the next pay per view. What do you think?
I think he could, but I think this might be something where they're going to keep it going through the summer. Maybe have maybe some sort of chicanery happen here at the, because I mean this pay per view isn't, I think it's Backlash. It isn't for a couple
It's called
weeks.
WrestleMania Backlash.
Yeah, they've been. I hope that that's not like the actual name, and they're just doing that for like the first week, like after to like promote it. That it's like,
I don't know because I could very easily see a Sheamus Riddle rematch, a return to Nigerian drum match
oh my
between
gosh.
Biggie and Apollo Crews. You already have the main title match. I'm sure Sasha Banks or somebody's going to be in there.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I hope that they don't market it as like that's the actual name of it is WrestleMania Backlash, but we'll see. Anyway, but I think Lashley will keep the title for a little bit, and maybe they'll do some chicanery because Drew can't lose clean twice.
Right.
Um,
Drew
so
loses.
there's got to be something, but I think they want him to win the belt when there's fans again. But like that now wasn't the time because Lashley's pretty hot right now,
Yeah.
and they just put the belts on him.
And they broke up the Hurt Business, which was just stupid.
Right, right.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
it was stupid, but I didn't think that we were doing as much with Alexander and Shelton anymore. Anyway, once they
yeah.
took the tag team titles off them, like they just kind of stopped using them, which was stupid to begin with.
And I love that Cesaro went over Rollins.
Right, and that was a banger of a match,
It,
and it was good to see Cesaro get a moment. I just hope I was listening to the Masked Man podcast the other day, and they were saying,
you think about it. Rollins losing to Cesaro doesn't hurt Rollins' career.
right,
Cesaro losing to Rollins, that puts him back in mid-card obscurity forever. At least
right.
tell him to a title shot on SmackDown, which I'll use that as a segue, and we'll just jump right into night 2 and hit that triple threat match for the Universal Championship.
Yeah, and I think that was probably the match of the weekend. Night 2 was nowhere near as good as night 1 for me. I did not. I thought that. I don't know. I had the card up. I think night 2. I think Roman Reigns. The triple threat match was great. Rhea Ripley versus Asuka was fine, and Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn was fine. Other than that, like nothing really hit for me. The Randy Orton Fiend match was horrible. The Sheamus Riddle match, it was.
Let's touch on that one because now it's after WrestleMania and it's been rumors or speculation came out that Vince McMahon changed his mind at the last minute for the outcome of the Orton Fiend match. From watching it at home, we saw Randy Orton come down, Fiend come down, match starts. Alexa Bliss comes out of the Jack in the Box, dripping motor oil, and distracted the Fiend, RKO, pin.
Right.
Cuts to black, cuts back. This is from watching on TV. So what we saw is that 2-minute match, and then it cut to black. Then the lights all came back up, at least on TV, and then Fiend and Alexa were gone, but the Jack in the Box was still there. What happened in that match from a viewer standpoint at home made no sense.
Right.
How did that match look in person after it ended and leading up to the ending?
But I don't know. I was only there on night 1. I didn't go to night 2.
You weren't there night 2. That's right. I forgot.
Right.
My bad.
Right. No. So that's what I have no idea what they were going for in that match. So I feel like there had to have been, like you said, some sort of swerve somewhere that they decided to change because it just didn't seem like that there was like a whole lot of thought there. And then they have it on Monday Night Raw. She introduces her new friend, whatever her name was. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense.
And I know I touched on this, but I'm just going to point this out. You were wearing a Mean Mark Callis shirt.
Right. Yes.
For those who don't know, that is Undertaker before he was the Undertaker.
Absolutely.
I just had to point it out. He wore assless chaps
Yep.
and some long ass vest coat thing. I think I don't know. It was just an odd gimmick. Um,
Yep. Yeah, that was when he was in WCW, and they fired him and said that nobody would ever pay money to see him wrestle.
yeah, that was just that was pretty bad. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with WrestleMania. Night one really surprised me at how entertaining it was. Night
Yep.
two, I thought there were some misses. Uh, the Oscar Ripley match, like you said, that was fine. That's going to set up a triple threat, I think, between Oscar, Ripley, and Charlotte, who shouldn't be in the title picture.
Charlotte's always in the title picture. What are you
No, she's
talking
going to be a 32-time champion before she's 30.
about? That's right.
So um, I'm still waiting for Becky Lynch to come back.
Yeah, man, and that kind of that is one point to make, is that I was a little disappointed that they had, because this was the first time they had fans back. This was on Peacock, their first big pay-per-view on Peacock, and I saw a lot of people on Twitter who don't normally follow wrestling that were tweeting about WrestleMania
Okay.
because it was on Peacock, so like they're already paying for it, and they displayed it right there on the home screen. So I'm sure they got a lot of extra eyeballs. They didn't really have any surprise comebacks, any sort of thing like that, and I was a little disappointed in that. There was nothing in either night, and I thought we for sure were going to get some sort of unannounced guest appearance, whether it be a wrestler, a legend, whatever the case
Right.
is.
Because Charlotte came back on Raw. And
Right, but even I guess I don't know how long has she been gone. It hasn't felt like she's been gone for that long.
long enough to change the way she looks.
Yeah, I guess she got a haircut. I guess her hair looked shorter, didn't it?
No,
Now that I'm
she had
thinking
like the
about it.
Hulk Hogan extensions going.
Oh, did she? See, that's what I don't know. Like you said, she shouldn't be in the title picture. Like it was just kind of weak. So I would.
She's just
It was in one ear, out the other when I was watching it.
not
But I,
not even a week past WrestleMania. Let me pull it up here real quick. Beep boop 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 beep beep. That's right. My phone makes noises from the 1950s. WWE seems to be cleaning house a little bit. Have you seen any of that today?
I have not. I know that's like a usual thing. Is after WrestleMania they usually do a couple releases.
Well, Billy Kay and Peyton Royce have come
Okay.
to terms with their release. So Peyton Royce will probably end up in AEW with her husband.
Yeah. Right.
Mickey James, who wasn't really doing much. I think
Right.
she was like guest commentary sometimes on NXT. I'm not sure, but
Okay.
she'll end up in NWA with her husband.
Right.
Um, Chelsea Green.
She's in NXT, right?
Yeah, she's NXT.
Yeah.
Tucker. Um,
Okay.
I mean, he ain't doing anything. They
No, man.
notice and
They might as well have just given him that notice right when they broke up. Yeah, whatever. What was the name of their tag team? I can't even remember now.
Heavy Machinery.
Heavy Machinery. That's what it was. Yeah.
No, great tag team. They were fun.
They were fun. Yeah. Now Otis is just mean or something. I don't
Out of these with Chad Gable, but
Yeah.
Kalisto, which
Wow, Kalisto.
yeah, I'm in.
He's been with the company for a long time.
Yeah, Wesley Blake. I don't know who that is.
No idea.
Um,
Sorry, Wesley. Hate to hear it for you. My friend.
sorry, Wesley. Hope you land on your feet. Bo Dallas finally got released, and according to the article, Bo Dallas had been off TV for over a year.
Wow.
We weren't doing anything with him.
Wow.
So
is he going to run for president now? Isn't that's Bo Dallas's thing? Run for president?
Something like that. And the big name on the list, Samoa Joe.
What?
Samoa Joe has come to terms with his release.
Oh my gosh. That's surprising, but it's surprising more from the WWE end, because like they just wasted basically the last year that they had him, because they didn't use him on commentary. I don't know if he was hurt or what.
They just used him on commentary. But here's the thing. Bobby Roode, he's still there, but he's main event. You'll never convince me otherwise. He's main event caliber. But I get he's doing his thing with Dolph and they're the tag champs and everything. Fine, that's great.
You say Bobby Roode is main event caliber?
Oh yeah. Robert Roode, man.
I don't know.
Samoa Joe, main event.
Absolutely.
The only impact got, and Eric Young, when they had Eric Young, he could have been great. Maybe
He
not.
was kind of cool in NXT, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's back in
Okay,
Impact now.
he's back where?
In Impact.
In Impact? Okay.
Now, I could feasibly see. Obviously, I know Mickey James is going to jump ship to NWA.
Yeah.
But Peyton Royce and definitely Samoa Joe are going to end up in AEW.
Yeah, Joe will be in AEW for sure, I think.
And then
and he'll be a star there.
And then if Peyton Royce will be a huge jolt, like Thunder Rosa was to the AEW women's division.
Yeah.
And if Billy Kay goes.
Yeah, and I was about to say, if they were smart, they would just sign both of them. Yeah, might as well.
So
because, I enjoyed the Iconics. I thought the Iconics were very like funny and entertaining, and could also like work pretty well. You know.
Yeah, they were great. I loved watching. They were good. They were like the Riot Squad. They were an actual tag team.
They were a tag team. Division. Yes.
Now, do you follow AEW at all?
I do here and there. It's more just kind of keeping up on social media, or like I'll hear about it at work and stuff like that.
Well, you hear about it more at work and get me tickets.
I might be able to. I don't know. I have to see. That's kind of a hike from here though, from Atlanta, because I don't know how, because they do some of the production as far as filming out of Atlanta, but I'm not sure.
I wonder
what they do on site.
Do you think when they start touring again, because they're broadcast on Turner, that they'll go back to where Turner's based out of?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't see why they would go back and like just move their home base to Atlanta when they already have one like set up down in where I think they're outside of Tampa right now.
Saying, because they're broadcast on TNT, maybe that'll be one of the first stops that they go.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I definitely think that's the case. Yeah, I think Atlanta would be their first.
I love that they're starting to bring more fans into the Daily's place, which is outdoors. That's one leg they have up on WWE right now, as far as being able to have fans every week.
Right.
I don't know. I think what's your overall? I got a couple notes here. That's why you see me looking this way like this. Your overall thoughts on the state of WWE right now?
Well, coming off of WrestleMania, and it's funny, we just talked about AEW for a minute there.
Right.
And
whatever, I don't do transition very well.
Oh, no. I think the transition is fine, but I was just going to make the point that
Go ahead.
I feel like, because I listen to like a couple different wrestling podcasts, and probably the popular ones that everybody else listens to, but they're always talking about, and that's where I get a lot of my AEW news.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been talking like the past couple of weeks, like a lot of big AEW matches here. And like I know Shaq, I went back and watched that episode when Shaq had a big match, and I think I watched when Sting debuted and a couple. So I've been watching like more here and there. But you asked the next question is the state of WWE. I think it proves from this past week that the state of WWE is just fine, because they threw their WrestleMania weekend, and that was like the talk of the weekend. Nobody's talking about AEW.
Oh yeah.
Right now. I haven't heard anything about it, So I think that is a great sign for them, because it still shows them that they are by far like the big dominant big brother,
And I say that, and I'm becoming less and less of a WWE guy all the time, but I still say they're the NFL. That's right. Where, when you look at it from a football perspective, that's where everybody wants to go. They want to compete.
Absolutely.
The NFL. You got the CFL, and you got the CFL diehards and whatever that don't want to leave, but where like Sting and the Undertaker, they were the loyalists. They stayed with their company, right? But that's where everybody wants to go to compete. Look at Eli Drake. Eli Drake just moved over. If you don't know who he is, he came from the Indies and then was on NWA, and then he came over to NXT as L.A. Knight. That's his thing. So he always wanted to compete in WWE. He's 38 years old. So, of course, if they're going to offer him a contract, because he was making waves and was on fire on the independent circuit. So, of course, they're going to sign him. And he's not going to say no, because that's where he wants to go. So, yes, in that regard, that's where everybody wants to compete. I think from a sheer entertainment standpoint, AEW I don't want to say eclipses them, but they're like at least a rung above as far as entertainment value.
I don't know. See, I would disagree. I think a top tier WWE match is still going to beat a top tier AEW match just for sheer scale. Like the triple threat match from WrestleMania this past weekend, I'm going to take that over any like Lucha Bros versus what's the Matt and Matt Jacksons. The Jacksons, I can't remember
The Young Bucks, sure.
the Young Bucks. Jeez, oh Pete, it's big brain fart there. But like I think their top tier match just for sheer like scale
let's say,
and storytelling, like
storytelling. See, that's where we disagree. I think if you give me Kenny Omega and Moxley match, that's gonna trump anything that WWE is gonna put out right now. I don't want to see Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton again. Yeah, they're names, but as far as storytelling, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton doesn't hold a candle to.
You think there's been a better match in AEW in recent memory than Daniel Bryan versus Edge versus Roman Reigns?
I didn't say that.
No, that's what I said. The top tier, best of the best. They're top tier, best of the best. I'm just.
Yeah, but if they have to put 3 guys in a match to beat a singles match,
AEW's best matches are tag team matches.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that.
my problem with, and I love talking wrestling with other people that don't always talk wrestling with. My biggest problem with WWE and their storytelling is there isn't any.
And fair. The majority of the time.
However, which from an entertainment standpoint isn't good. However, they do have some of the best in-ring talent on their roster.
Right.
Now, on the flip side, AEW has some great talent on their roster too. You may not know all of them, but let's stick with people you do know. Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. They're 2 of the best in wrestling today.
Yeah. And that's why I think AEW's top tier can hang with WWE tier, but AEW is nowhere near as deep as WWE. And especially in the women's division, like nowhere near.
And every one of the friends that I have, they're, holy crap, my laptop is not plugged in and it's about to die.
Clown show out here.
This is how it's done on the Soup Can, man. Low budget. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pause recording and we'll be back. And we're back. Crisis averted. That's just how we roll here. And just to let you know, I don't do any editing. So what's being recorded is what's going to be on there. I like,
nice.
I play better off people. I just enjoy having conversations with people, man.
Definitely.
With you, we covered from how we met to where you're at now, what you're doing with yourself, and now we're talking about something we both enjoy.
Absolutely.
So, what were we saying?
We were talking top tier AEW versus WWE.
And definitely you have to put Mox and Omega in AEW's top tier. Those 2 guys are 2 of the best in the ring. And I agree. Daniel Bryan, you put Daniel Bryan in an AJ Styles in a match, those 2 guys will steal the show. Even Seth Rollins. It's hard to say that WWE's top tier isn't better than a lot.
Right, because I think you could just name more of those guys. It's not that AEW doesn't have those guys. You can just name more in WWE. But I mean that you would expect that.
But WWE's lack of storytelling and long-term plans hinders some of these guys.
Yeah.
They and don't get me wrong, like you said, those guys are super talented in the ring, but WWE, I think, relies too much on that part of it, which is huge, okay? Because you need great in-ring performance, but you also need to balance that with storytelling.
Right. Absolutely. And that, they can definitely. It's just tough. There's just way more WWE content out there, and they have way more that they put out than AEW. With their 3 shows a week versus 1 that AEW puts out, but they also have a lot more capital, a lot more writers.
They have 2 shows, and they have.
Oh, do they have 2?
They have 1 on Mondays now, and then they still have AEW Dark on YouTube, I believe.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Well, but anyway, I think even with like the network and everything, there's just a lot more WWE content out there. So it's tougher, but like you said, I think they do hinder on like that weekly programming. The Raws and SmackDown is usually pretty consistently good, but the Raws can just drag on sometimes.
Look at
The Hulu edition.
look at what they did with Matt Riddle and Sheamus.
Yeah.
3 weeks before WrestleMania, we got a match between those two cats every week.
Yeah.
Now they're going for a fourth match. Who cares?
Yeah, I agree. Which and I think that's also kind of a victim of the pandemic because I think they're trying to keep guys more isolated. Like, okay, you guys are going to work your program, so now we don't have to worry about contact tracing or anything like that. Because like it's a sport, and you see other sporting leagues like the NBA, NFL, MLB, they're having to reschedule games, postpone, do all this and that when people test positive, and like these guys don't want to have to pause and put all their storylines on hold. Like we saw they had to do that with Drew and Goldberg, and like we knew that was going to be a shit show no matter what, but it turned out to be even shittier because Drew missed 2-3 weeks. Like
and it was Goldberg.
Yeah, fucking Oldberg.
If you're a legend in the business right now and you want to make a comeback and your name is not Sting, don't.
Yes,
Sting,
I agree.
Sting works. The Undertaker worked. Goldberg does not.
He does not, because he's not good at anything.
He
was only good at being intimidated, and he's not intimidated anymore.
Exactly. I was gonna ask a question, but I totally forgot. I'm blanking on my question.
Well, here's two questions. I wanted to ask you two questions because that sparked me. Yeah, flipping the script on you because that sparked me with two curiosities, and that can be two things that we leave each other with unless we wanted to talk anything else. But who would be one? Because we also talked about no guest appearances or no surprise comebacks at WrestleMania this year. Who would be one wrestler, one like maybe older name or something that you would be super excited or the most excited for to see pop up in WWE?
Oh, cool.
And then the second question is going to be the reverse of that. Who do you think has the brightest future? Who's somebody that you're looking forward to watching the next couple of years? And I'll answer the same.
Does it? I mean, I'm chomping at the bits to get Becky Lynch back because she was great in the ring, but she's not.
I'm talking older. We haven't seen in a while.
To see somebody make a comeback like that, I'll come back to that question. I'll skip to your second question and see who's got the brightest future.
Yeah.
Brightest future. Let's see. I like Matt Riddle, but I don't really see him becoming main event status. But I like what they're doing with him. I like his gimmick. It seems to be over, and he's real entertaining. I believe he's got a bright future. Keith Lee, I thought did, but they ruined him.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. Like, I don't know if it's like an injury and I think there was some COVID related stuff in there for a little bit, but
I'm gonna jot that down real quick. That question, I'm gonna pose that to my. I'm in a wrestling chat, with some people. That's a good question. Like, what are they like? They have a lot of young talent too, but they don't utilize them right now. That's
right.
The problem. I think actually, you know what? I if pushed properly, Big E could have the best and brightest future if used properly because he's good in the ring, he's stupid over, and he pretty solid on the mic. I think.
And he's had some great promos in this build, like some great like intense promos. With this stuff with Apollo.
But my stipulation with Big E is that WWE has to use him right, and then he would be he's got the tools. Big E could have probably one of the brightest futures in WWE right now. As far as legends coming back, oh man.
Yeah, I can answer my brightest future while you think of your legends.
Okay, go ahead.
Because you mentioned a lot of good names, and one that has always been in my head, and it would have been my for sure answer a couple years ago, was Johnny Gargano. Because Johnny Gargano,
yep.
When I saw him, I think it was when he won the NXT title. I watched whatever match that was, and it was like 45 minutes long or something like that. And I was like, this is the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. And like, I cannot believe it. And then he got to the main roster and I'm like, holy shit, he's like 100 pounds lighter and 8 inches shorter than everybody else here. This is bad. So I don't know. He might be one of those NXT lifers, which might not be the worst thing in the world for him, but I really wish it could happen for him. Like I think he would be money. Like I loved Johnny Gargano. So he would be one that I'd like to see get like a big push if he could ever make it happen. And then another young guy would be, I feel like I had a good one. We'll stick with Johnny Gargano. I think that's a good one. I think that's a good one.
I mean, there's a lot of NXT guys. If we're gonna look at that, but those aren't really young guys. Look at Finn Balor.
Yeah, a lot of them aren't young.
He asked to go back to NXT. You got Adam Cole, but I think Adam Cole's on his way out.
Yeah, I think so too. He's put a lot of time in.
I always butcher his name, Tommaso Ciampa.
Ciampa, yeah.
I always butcher his name, but great in the ring. But how young is that cat?
Oh, he's almost 40. He's just a for sure NXT lifer. I think he said that's what he wants.
Last year, sometime from a bad neck injury or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is he like blows out his knee or like tears his spinal cord every other like years, basically.
So I'm still having trouble with a legend or something I'd like to see come back, because it's like I feel with the roster that they have right now, they don't need anyone to come back.
Yeah. So a couple names that I have, or one that I guess immediately came to mind would be, and I want to see, I don't know how well it would work now, but I think if Edge can stick around for a little while, and because he's started to do some like heel work,
Yeah.
So if he gets back into that rated R superstar kind of deal, if they could bring back Lita in some way, shape, or form, I think that would be incredible. But he obviously is married now with children and daughters in particular, so that could get a little weird. But I think obviously also CM Punk, that's like the big one. Everybody wants to see CM Punk back.
His name did pop into my head.
It's gonna.
It's like, because I'm a Sting mark through and through.
Yeah.
Sting, I thought, was mistreated in WWE.
Absolutely.
Granted, he got that injury, but he did lose the trips at that WrestleMania, which was just silly. But Sting is back in AEW. He's going to get that match against Jericho or against Lance Archer or somebody, and then he's going to be done. And then he's just going to be an enhancement talent until he's done, and then maybe manage somebody. Who knows? CM Punk, I would like to see one last match with him. Sure. That would, I think, because he was one of the best in the ring of all time. Right. All around. Yeah, so that would be cool to see him back. But, who knows?
Right. And I'm trying to think. I was really excited. Another name that I would have had on that list, but now I think it's kind of gone, is Carlito, because I thought Carlito had a lot of potential, and he's still. I don't even think Carlito's 40 yet.
Well, I think he's at the Royal Rumble.
He was at the Royal Rumble, but he hasn't been back since.
Jacked.
He was jacked, exactly.
He was.
Yeah. So I think I don't know if you watched Glow on Netflix, but he had a guest appearance on Glow. He was on a couple episodes of that. It was pretty good.
Saw him at up here. There's a local wrestling promotion called XICW.
Okay.
Extreme something championship wrestling. I don't know what the I stands for. But he was there. He was in the main event. The place went nuts. You're talking maybe 200 people. But
it's Carlito.
It's Carlito, and they do a meet and greet afterwards. You can meet him if you bought like a certain ticket level.
Yeah.
But he came out. He did the whole Apple thing.
I was about to say, could you get him to spit an apple in your face if you paid extra, or like what's the deal? What tier was that? No.
Super great if he did, but we'll wrap it up here, I guess, Tyler. I'm glad you came on. I was talking with one of my other buddies on a previous episode, which I'm slacking and didn't post yet, but I will. Doing like once a month, twice a month, maybe now with you, wrestling podcast just to recap what happened that month with the different wrestling promotions. I think that'd be, if you're interested and have time, like you said, it's very
Absolutely.
here in the soup can, and I appreciate you coming on. Hopefully, I'll get you to come on again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd be happy to come on, talk wrestling, talk movies, talk basketball, whatever
We didn't
you're
even get
interested in, man.
to talk about sports and movies and stuff like that. So
Well,
you do have to come
save
on.
that for next time.
Yeah, save some stuff for next time. But like you said, I'll wrap it up here. Tyler, thank you for coming on. If you want to hang on after I end the recording, that's fine. We can bullshit a little bit after that. But thank you for coming into the Soup Can. I'm your host, Campbell's. If you have a story or anything going on in your life and want to talk about it, you can come into the Soup Can with me. You can reach out to me at the Soup Can with Campbell's at yahoo.com. Tyler, again, thank you for coming on. And from everyone here at the Soup Can, have a good night. And thank you for listening to the Soup Can, where we ask the burning question: Soup no O.